A 50-year-old hypertensive male comes with a history of weakness on the left side of the body since 1 hour. What will be your next step? Stroke is one of the most time-critical emergency because every minute lost leads to death of millions of neurons. Every year, about 7 million people die due to stroke and about equal number of people become permanently disabled. In today's video, we are going to see the early recognition, diagnosis and early management of ischemic stroke. So friends, today's video is very important. You see this video till the end. And if you have come for the first time on this channel, then do subscribe this channel for more such clinical videos. And also an interesting quiz on this topic is waiting for you in the description box. So friends, without wasting much time, let's start the video. Now, what is stroke? Stroke is defined as sudden onset of focal neurological deficit lasting more than 24 hours due to disturbances in the cerebral blood flow. And depending upon the cause, the stroke is either an ischemic stroke or a hemorrhagic stroke. An important thing here is that the focal neurological deficit should last more than 24 hours. Now, you will tell me in the comment box that if the focal neurological deficits last less than 24 hours, then what it is called as. Now, the stroke is of two types. Either it is a ischemic stroke or it is a hemorrhagic stroke. In ischemic stroke, there is a formation of a blood clot in the cerebral artery due to which the blood supply to the respective part of the brain is hampered and the neurons get damaged. What is the pathophysiology in the hemorrhagic stroke? In hemorrhagic stroke, there is rupture of the blood vessel and the blood gets collected. And due to the mechanical compression and biochemical injury of the blood, the neurons at that side gets damaged. So in this way, the stroke is of two types. One is the ischemic stroke and one is the hemorrhagic stroke. And in today's video, we are going to see the ischemic stroke. Now, what are the risk factors for having a stroke? So, the important risk factors are: first is the high blood pressure, second is cigarette smoking, third is uncontrolled diabetes, fourth is high blood cholesterol level, fifth is heavy alcohol drinking, sixth is high fat diet, seventh is lack of exercise, eighth is obesity, and important next risk factor is atrial fibrillation. Because in patients of atrial fibrillation, there is tendency to form clots in the heart. And these clots then go into the brain and cause something called as cardioembolic stroke. So friends, these are the important risk factors for having a ischemic stroke. Now we will see what are the clinical features of stroke. So now, depending upon the part of the brain involved, patient can come with different symptoms. Sometimes patient can come simply with severe headache or confusion. Sometimes there can be blurring of vision. Sometimes there can be difficulty in speaking, that is, there will be slurred speech. If the posterior circulation is involved or cerebellum is involved, there will be lack of coordination, and what we commonly see is face drooping, that is, there is weakness of the one side of the face. And more common than that is the paralysis of the limbs. What we commonly see is hemiplegia, that is, there is weakness on the either left or the right side of the body. To remember these symptoms, an interesting mnemonic is there, and this mnemonic is called as be fast. So here B stands for balance, E stands for eyes, F stands for face, A stands for arms, S stands for speech, and T stands for time. That is, if these symptoms are there in the patient, then you have to act very fast. So friends, in this way, these are the clinical features in a patient of stroke. So now the most important part, that how will you now proceed with this patient. So first you will stabilize the ABC. Sometimes patient can be drowsy and the airway may not be clear. So you have to first clear the airway, and if the brainstem stroke is there, then patient can have hypotension or there can be even difficulty in breathing. In that case, you may have to intubate the patient. So first you have to stabilize ABC. Friends, I have already made a video on this ABCDE approach. So you can check that video by clicking here, or the link is given in the description box. So after stabilizing ABC, you then check the glucose. Why to check the glucose? Because hypoglycemia mimics symptoms of stroke. So first you have to rule out that there is no hypoglycemia. Then you have to record the vitals, that is the TPR-BP. You have to see if they are in the normal range. Then you have to do a detailed neurological examination according to this, that is NIHSS. What is it? It is a National Institute of Health Stroke Scale, and it is a tool that is used to assess the severity of the stroke. If the number is high, then the stroke is severe. So you have to do a neurological examination according to this. Then you have to go for urgent non-contrast CT brain. This is the most important investigation that we do in a patient of stroke. If there is no bleeding in the CT scan, then it is a ischemic stroke. If there is a bleeding, then it is a hemorrhagic stroke. Then you have to also do certain other investigations, like the complete blood count, LFT, KFT, and other two important investigations are, one is the ECG, because there can be arrhythmias in the ECG, and the other is 2D echo to check if there are any blood clots in the heart for the cardioembolic stroke. So in this way, you will do the initial evaluation of the patient. Now we will see some CT scan pictures. So this is a picture of a ischemic stroke. All this black part of the brain is an infarcted brain in the right MCA and the PCA territory. Then this is a picture of a hemorrhagic stroke. You can see the bleeding in the right thalamic region. So in this way, with the help of CT scan, we can differentiate if the stroke is an ischemic stroke or if it is a hemorrhagic stroke. Now we have come to the important part of the video, that is how will you treat this patient. The most important thing that will really decide the prognosis of the patient is this. If patient comes to you within 4.5 hours, then you have to start IV thrombolysis with tissue plasminogen activator, and the dose is 0.9 milligram per kg. Maximum you can give up to 90 milligram. Friends, there are certain protocols that one has to follow while administering this therapy. If you want me to make a detailed video on that, then tell me in the comment box. Before starting this therapy, you have to ensure that the blood pressure of the patient is less than 185 by 110. This is to prevent an important side effect of bleeding. If your center has a facility of thrombectomy, and if patient has come to you after 4.5 hours but before 24 hours, then you can also take patient for thrombectomy. If there is no facility of thrombectomy and patient has come after 4.5 hours, then you have to start with antiplatelets and statin after excluding the bleeding in the CT scan. And important thing to remember is that if patient has undergone a thrombolysis or a thrombectomy, then you will start antiplatelet after 24 hours of this, either thrombolysis or thrombectomy. So friends, in this way, this is the initial acute management of a patient of ischemic stroke. So friends, apart from the thrombolysis or antiplatelet therapy, patient also needs some important supportive care. So what is it? First, you have to maintain the oxygenation. So first you have to maintain the oxygenation, because oxygen is very vital for brain function. You have to maintain proper oxygenation of the patient. If patient is not breathing properly, then you may have to also intubate the patient and put on ventilator. Then there has to be proper BP monitoring and BP control. Friends, there are important guidelines regarding the at what level the BP should be maintained in the patient of stroke. If you want me to make a video on that also, then you tell me in the comment box. So in case of a ischemic stroke, we generally try to maintain BP on the higher side to maintain cerebral perfusion. So unless blood pressure is more than 220 by 110, unless blood pressure is more than 220 by 110, we do not try to lower this blood pressure. If blood pressure is more than 220 by 110, then we can lower this blood pressure by 15% in initial 24 to 48 hours. So this is the important guidelines about the BP control. Then you have to also control the sugar. There should not be hyperglycemia and also there should not be hypoglycemia. You have to maintain sugar between 140 to 180. Then you have to also prevent aspiration. Sometimes the deglutition reflex and the coughing reflex of the patient is lost. So you have to insert a Ryle's tube and give feeding through the Ryle's tube to prevent aspiration. There has to be early physiotherapy to prevent stiffness and for early rehabilitation. And the last important thing is that there must be a DVT prophylaxis after 24 hours because these patients are bedridden and there can be chances of pulmonary embolism. So this is the important supportive care that you have to give to your patient. Now some words about the secondary prevention. Once the patient is discharged, then you have to prevent recurrent stroke. So what are the certain things that you have to do? First is the lifestyle modification, then control of blood pressure, diabetes and control of the lipid levels. You have to give antiplatelets, either a single antiplatelet or a dual antiplatelet. And you have to also give anticoagulation if the patient is of atrial fibrillation. And sometimes if there is a facility and there is a need, patient can also undergo carotid surgery. So this is the important secondary prevention to prevent the recurrence of stroke. Now before ending this video, these are certain important stroke mimics. So you have to first rule out these things before diagnosing patient as stroke. So what are these important things? First is hypoglycemia. Second is TOTS paralysis. That is, it is seen in the post-ictal stage. Then migraine, space occupying lesion and convergent disorders. These are the psychiatric disorders. Now to recap, recognize the stroke early, assess the eligibility for thrombolysis, check the blood pressure, control blood sugar, and also start rehabilitation early. Remember that behind every stroke patient, there is a family with hope, and this hope starts with you. Keep learning, keep your neurons engaged on Stethoscope 360, and also don't forget to solve the quiz that is waiting for you in the description box. See you in the next video. Till then,